All right. Now I am using a computer. So now I gotta figure out how to actually share this. Copy. And Discord doesn't really work on this computer right now.
Why do you have so many problems?
See, my constant tech problems inspired me to hate computers so intensely that I got a degree in computers. There are apparently 3 people here.
You probably didn't close Discord all the way.
What the hell does not close Discord all the way mean?
It likes to stick around in your tray.
I'm just going to use my phone to share the link.
That's fair. There's a secret second window here.
All right.
There you go.
So, apparently there are 3 people watching.
Yep.
One of whom is me, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and post this link.
Here. Oh.
And then we should actually talk about this because...
Yeah.
Hello, I was just going to bed and saw this up here. I don't know what happened, but I don't know what's happening with Worm Anniversary Good. Yeah, so this morning I was reminded by our dear friend across the pond, Crispy, that the Worm Anniversary was happening in like 10 minutes from the time that he said. And I realized, hey, I would really like to do something about Worm on this channel because I've never actually talked about Worm, even though I would consider myself a real Worm fan as someone who has been running a Weaver Dice game for 1.5 years. So I figured I wanted to do something, but I didn't really know what to do, especially because I feel like a lot of aspects of Worm have been talked to death, and I wanted to do something easy that I could throw together in a day. And by a day, I mean I went to the dollar store and bought some stickers. And that was all the work I put into this, other than 15 minutes of writing down questions. So I figured what I was going to do is evaluate my own potency as a fan. Ask or allow the world to watch me ask myself how good of a Worm fan I am. And the only way to evaluate that is my boyfriend here has never read Worm, but he has been dating a Worm fan for 3 years. If I am a good Worm fan, he should know every trivia question I'm about to ask him. Yeah, so I figured I was going to go through some aspects of Worm, ask Nick what he knows about them, ask Nick what he thinks about them or what he thinks I think about them, and then talk about them a little bit. So I made a list of topics, which I guess I'm just going to open up on my phone. Yeah, so first of all, I guess, Nick, what do you... Okay, so before... Hi, Rita. So before I get going any farther, I should say, so originally when I first started reading Worm, I begged Nick to read it. Hey, Jess. I begged Nick to read it. I was like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever read. Please, please read it. And I was in Electronics 1 at the time. And so I told Nick, who had already taken Electronics 1, please read Worm. And he said, I will read it if you get an A. Hi, Bob. I will read it if you get an A in Electronics 1.
Genius tactical move on my part.
And I got an F. So now Nick has determined that he will never read Worm. Yep. So I have determined that I have to make up for this by exposing him to the greatest possible like intensity of worm trivia at all times. Like I inject worm into every conversation because I know he's never going to read it. So he needs to, but he still needs to understand everything about worm. Yeah. So the question that we're asking today is, does Nick understand worm? Thanks, Jess. So yeah, I'm hoping this will just be kind of a chill hangout time to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Worm, and also a little mild torture for this man who refuses to read it. Yeah. So the first question was going to be, what is today?
But you literally just said that today is the 10th anniversary of Worm.
Originally, I was just going to start streaming and then tell Nick what we were going to be talking about.
She couldn't keep a secret.
Well, I figured it was unfair to not tell you what we were going to be talking about. Yeah. So what do you think of Worm from what I've told you?
It's obvious that it is something that people like, and I would probably like if I read it, but I haven't read it because you got an F in Electronics 1.
Okay. Tell me about Taylor.
She's the main character, right? Wait, no, or is that the...
This is gonna go great.
Oh, this is gonna go great. I don't remember which one she is.
Okay, so is the other person you were thinking of Victoria?
Yeah.
Okay, Victoria's the protagonist of Ward, and I can see how that would be confusing because I like Ward better, and I probably talk about Ward more. But no, Taylor is the protagonist of Worm.
Okay.
You guys can post questions if you want. I know you guys don't really know Nick that well, so
there's going to be a lot of almost corrects. That's for sure.
Yeah, probably. All right. So, what do you know about Taylor, the protagonist of Worm?
She's the bug lady, right? Her power is bugs.
Yes.
She vibes with bugs in some way, in a way that makes the bugs do things she wants.
Okay.
And she uses the bugs to take over like a block or two of New York or something.
Yes.
In
New York. Yes.
I mean, New York could have been exploded or something, but a large-ish American city.
Okay. Branching off point here. Why do you think that New York may have been exploded?
Because you talk a lot about cities that have been exploded in your Weaver Dice.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So
major population centers have been flattened by the various forces that flatten cities in the universe.
Okay. So tell me about Endbringers.
They're a big bad, and they're super tough and cannot be killed by any means the characters came up with, except for like a handful of things that ended badly for various characters.
So a couple weeks ago, you gave me a theory for how to kill Endbringers.
There's all sorts of there's loads of great ideas. Like, high explosive anti-tank, which has the interesting property of going through armor, but by not going through armor, but instead sending shockwaves through armor that cause internal spalling, which is pretty cool because you don't actually have to make a hole. It depends whether or not that works, depends on a lot of details about Endbringer material properties. But judging by the one paragraph we have about detailed Endbringer material properties, it maybe work, it maybe wouldn't. I don't really know what their nervous system is made of. If they're made of goo, it might not work. If they're made of super dense matter, maybe. Obviously, no one's ever tried it, so it's hard to know. There's all sorts of fun stuff like weakly interacting massive particles. My idea was to build a network of large hadron colliders around the world that could fire neutrino beams at Endbringers from fixed points and dump a lot of power into their interior from a very long way away, which has it has the beautiful property of not needing to move around the world. You can just fire a beam at the speed of light. B, it has the beautiful property of going through matter that isn't super dense very easily, which means direct attack against the inner layers.
I thought the point was to get through extremely dense layers.
No, the point is to get through the less dense layers and attack the core directly.
I see what you're saying. Okay. So that's
Those are my brilliant ideas.
so Nick doesn't know who the protagonist of Worm is, but he did approach me out of the blue about 3 weeks ago with an idea for how to kill Endbringers. He does occasionally help me with Weaver dice. He sits next to me while I'm DMing and quickly fact checks certain technologies that I want to use during the game, such as submarine
Ballistic missile submarines.
Yeah. Anyway, so Jess would like to know, there is a serial killer villain group. Are they the Slaughterhouse 5, the Slaughterhouse 9, the Slaughterhouse 11, or the Slaughterhouse 13?
Slaughterhouse 9 would probably be too on point, or on the nose rather,
Why?
because that's the book, isn't it?
Okay, no, you think it's the book because I've told you about the Slaughterhouse 9. It's
Oh.
yeah.
But no, it's Slaughterhouse 5 that's the book, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shit.
And
I haven't read that
gave you
book
the answer,
either.
which was
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. All right.
The Slaughterhouse 7-Eleven.
The Slaughterhouse 7. How did Taylor get her powers? You should know this one. Actually, let's start with how do people get powers in Worm?
By having terrible, terrible childhoods. They could have terrible adulthoods too. But obviously Worm is generally about younger people, so they've generally had terrible childhoods.
I'm not sure if I should give you that one, honestly. Not incorrect.
You set the bar too low.
I figured it would be better to give you a lot of easy questions than a few hard questions, since I know that half the time when I tell you about Worm, you're not listening to me.
I don't remember
how Taylor
what
got
her
her
specific
powers?
trauma is.
Okay. She was
Was she stung by a bee? Radioactive bee? An Endbringer bee?
No, she
A
was
bee that stings you very hard?
she was stuck in a locker
Oh,
by a bunch of bullies.
with bugs?
No.
Oh,
This
just
is
stuck in a locker?
stuck in a locker with
long
a bunch
time?
of rotting tampons, actually.
Oh, that's pretty gross.
Don't tell me this is the first time you've heard this.
I feel like it probably is not, but I don't remember it.
Some side context here. Nick is actually a very active member of a parahumans focused Discord group. He just doesn't participate in the parahumans sections.
I've the Parahuman sections collapsed and muted.
Right. But we still make lots of Worm references all the time, which is why I'm so baffled that he didn't know that one, I guess.
Because nobody talks about that outside the channels.
That's true.
Or references it rather, because most people don't have that happen.
Okay, do you know what Take That You Worm is? Or have you seen it used around?
I have a couple of friends who use Worm in ways other than referring to the animal, but I don't think they're referring to the book.
Okay.
I'm not actually sure why the book is titled Worm, for what it's worth.
There are many possible explanations.
I'm sure there are.
The general consensus is that it is because of all the possible explanations.
I don't know who Rachel Lynn is.
I'm starting to realize that you never paid attention to anything I said.
What? Who? You never told me about Rachel.
Bitch.
Is she the one who? She's not the gas cloud one, is she?
No.
She's didn't she like kill someone and then spend a bunch of time moping about it or something? And
yes. Okay, that is the gas cloud
she murdered.
lady. That is the gas cloud lady.
Okay.
But the gas cloud lady is not bitch.
Okay.
Or Rachel Lynn. We're probably gonna have to move on to Ward. See if maybe he knows a little more about Ward. Do you remember anything about Victoria and her sister?
So Victoria, she's a siscon. Right?
I don't know what that means.
It means she wants to bang her sister.
Wrong sister.
Oh my God! There's more than 2 sisters.
No, there were. Okay, so I said, do you know anything about Victoria and her sister?
Oh.
And
isn't Victoria Taylor's sister?
No. So Victoria's sister is a woman named Amy.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the one who wanted to bang Victoria.
Okay.
Yes. So you remembered names in the correct context, but the two protagonists are not sisters.
Right.
Okay. I don't think he knows anything about Chris Ullman because I don't care about Chris at all. I know everybody loves Chris. I, for some reason, found him to be completely uninteresting at the risk of insulting people. He was definitely far and away the least interesting member of Breakthrough for me, let alone okay, everybody in the fandom loves Chris. So I hate him more. Everybody in the fandom loves Chris. Or rather, I feel like when I was listening to We've Got Ward, a lot of the answers were, I just really hope that Chris comes out okay because I love him so much. He's my favorite character. And you know what? More power to those people. But Chris isn't Ashley Stillins. And therefore, he doesn't matter. I mean, anyway. Okay, you might know this one. There is a canonically trans member of Breakthrough, which is the team in Ward.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember anything about her?
The only thing I remember about Breakthrough is that it's like the Doors song "Break On Through."
Okay, the team.
They share a similar name.
The team from Ward. The team from Ward. She's Victoria. Wow. All right. She's the squid.
Okay. I don't know. I've never heard
you don't remember me talking
before.
about the squid.
No.
I mean, it's not that you haven't heard me talk about it. No. All right. I should not bully you for not preparing for a thing I didn't prepare you for adequately, apparently.
You explicitly didn't want me to prepare because you didn't want to tell me.
All right. Do you know anything about the robot?
I'm guessing you're not referring to the dance. So no, I don't.
Okay, tell me about characters you do remember.
So other than the ones we've already discussed, me remembering.
Yes. The Gas Cloud Lady.
Yes.
And Victoria.
Who I only remember her because I was editing the audiobook chapter for you that one time.
Yes. Yes, I was the voice of Fume Hood in the Ward audiobook.
Right.
That's why he knows who Fume Hood is.
Mm-hmm. And she was fighting a man who I think was just a normal guy with a gun.
Yeah, he was an unnamed guy with a gun. Yes.
So he's not that important, other than the fact that he shoots her. Which, I guess is what happens when you fight someone with a gas mask.
Okay, do you remember anything about Taylor's boyfriend?
Other than the fact that they got freaky once, no.
You're not gonna bring up that? Okay. Wow. Okay. Do you know who the other character I'm supposed to voice is? No. Okay. All right. I know you know a bit about the PRT classifications.
Yeah.
Tell me about the PRT classifications.
So
I would have asked your question, Rethel, but I didn't think it was going anywhere.
There's masters and strangers and thinkers and probably some sort of berserker strong person type. And I'm sure something for like telekinetics or something. And they stick some numbers on the end to represent how dangerous they are. And then ignore all the less dangerous ones because they have very dangerous people to worry about. And then they take the very dangerous people and they put them in a box from which they never return.
Okay, I'm noticing the pattern here is that you remember everything that came up in my Weaver Dice game, which is great.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because we spent a lot, because when we're talking about the Weaver Dice game, I am actually engaged listening. Because I'm trying to actually help you come up with new ideas. And as you know, I'm a guy who has lots of new ideas. Mm-hmm. Especially the things I've just made up about the questions. Okay, so testing your ability to come up with new ideas. Wildbow has sent this piece of fan art that was posted to the Grand Games Discord a couple of days ago. This is the team from Ward.
For those of you in the
Yeah.
audience, it's this picture. It was posted a couple days ago. It's been gilded a million times. It's beautiful.
It is good art.
So figure out who.
I can't name these people.
Make shit up.
All right. So
You can zoom in if you need to.
that looks like this girl with the white hair looks like the little psychic from One Punch Man.
Tornado.
You said make things up. This person's wearing armor and lifts rocks. Which trying to think if there's anyone I know who wears armor and makes rocks go all wacky, and has a head because the Full Metal Alchemist brother does not have an actual body.
So you want to call Tristan Alphonse?
Almost.
All right.
They do a lot of smacking their hands together and then rocks shoot up all over the place. And he's a suit of armor, but obviously he doesn't have. But he has a physical body, so I'm not sure who that maps to.
Okay.
This person has they're either a character from the Nintendo ARMS game or the main character from JoJo Part 5, who is made of string. Except she has purchased a premium skin with premium currency to get the nice like tie-dye rainbow. Then there is someone who is faceless with a knife. Well, I mean, they have a face, but it doesn't have anything on it other than two eyes and some blue. And they have a blue knife, which it's a good color choice for a weird knife. I feel like no. There's plenty. I'm sure there's plenty of characters who have like the white eye blank mask thing. I'm trying. The only one I can think of is Deadpool, but that's not obvious. That's obviously not it because he has katanas and not just a glowing blue knife. But I'm sure he would use one if he could. Then we have a monkey. Then we have someone from Splinter Cell, and someone that's just JoJo from part 3. I mean,
Okay.
She has a punch ghost. That's it. And then there's Aquaman standing here up on a roof.
He said Ashley looks like Tatsumaki. This is some of the most excruciating pain I've ever been in.
You asked for new ideas, and I'm giving you some new ideas. I did not promise they would be good.
All right, keep going.
Oh, that's everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, there's this guy, but
Yeah,
he's the same guy as the rock guy.
He's just Aquaman.
Okay, so one of these. All right, so my final degree project in robotics was a yeah. So my final degree.
It's okay. I'm he.
Yes, he's a boy. For now.
Oh my God! Do you know what you've done? Do you know what we've done? Do you know that you? Do you know what you've just done to your audience?
You've been egg baiting in Iron Reach for a couple months now. I feel comfortable. Anyway, so my final degree project in engineering was a robot that had a camera on it, and it was a surveillance robot. I named that robot after one of these characters. Which one it is?
I presume it would be the one with all the eyes and she has some holographic screens around her.
All right, that one was actually not that tough.
Because I don't actually remember the name of the robot, but it's pretty obvious that she's a surveillance-y type.
Okay. So if she's a surveillance-y type, that makes her a what?
Would that be a thinker?
He's
well,
so
she's a-
helpful during Weaver Dice planning. He knows
She's a hacker,
exactly.
I mean, well, not like
She builds things. She builds
yeah,
things.
yeah.
So
Because
you're right. A hacker
she's
would be
using,
a thinker,
she's
but she's not a
surveilling,
hacker,
she's surveilling things with technology and
which
not
would
with
make her
a thinker, right? She's not like a stranger or anything, is she?
Okay, so I think that where you're getting tripped up is tinker and thinker are two different things.
Ah,
Yeah.
God. Okay, yeah, that'd be a tinker then. They should have made those a few more letters different.
Yes, Victoria would be Genos because of gun. If Breakthrough cosplayed as One Punch Man characters, would Rain be One Punch Man? I guess Rain gets One Punch Man just by virtue of being okay. I would say Rain would be the license list biker. What's his name? The bicyclist. Because
Moomin Rider.
Moomin Rider, license list rider, yeah. Because he doesn't, his powers are not that good, but his
isn't his power
strength
just
of
that he's
heart.
good at riding a bike?
He has. That's right. He doesn't have anything. He's just
good at riding a bike.
Yes. Rain would totally be Moomin Rider. Then again, I didn't watch season 2 and I haven't read the manga, so I can't really classify anybody else. But yes, Rain would be Moomin Rider because he has the strength of heart, even if his powers are. This guy, knife guy, he has a collection of worse superpowers instead of one extremely useful superpower.
Okay.
And instead of making him more utility, it just makes him worse. Pretty much.
That's why he has just a knife.
He doesn't have the power of knives.
Okay, that's a good start.
That's not that start. It's a good start. That is actually that's the power he was supposed to have if he had only one power. Is his his power of knives. Yeah. All right. So when did superheroes start? When did the whole superhero thing start?
The 80s?
It is a good knife. Rain is a good boy. I worry about him because other than that part where he killed the Seamerg, basically, he's
Power started in the 80s though, right?
You got an answer! Yeah, good job.
Like early 80s, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Mid-80s?
It was like mid-80s, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so
I only know that because of Weaver Dice as well.
What is the origin of the powers?
Alien goo.
He's getting
aliens sprayed midichlorians all over the earth or something.
Okay, so why did the aliens spray midichlorians all over the earth?
Because they decided to become the Joker. And just wanted people to start killing each other.
The momentum is kind of
right? They wanted people to fuck each other up until either someone strong came out or they were sufficiently entertained.
Actually, that is pretty close. So they wanted to basically use humanity as a survival of the fittest machine.
Yeah.
So they can watch other people
have superpowers.
They can watch how other people do survival of the fittest without having to participate themselves.
So they wanted to wait for someone strong to pop out.
Right, and they were trying to solve entropy.
Ages of both both worlds.
Okay, yeah. How old are Taylor and Victoria?
Not very. Aren't they like early 20s?
Victoria's early 20s. Taylor is a teenager.
Yeah.
Who's my favorite character? I will accept one of like 5 different answers.
Who do you talk about a lot? Promise you don't talk about the characters as much when you're talking about Weaver Dice. You're just trying to avoid referencing actual characters.
That's true. A lot of times in Weaver Dice, I'll go, I came up with a new villain. Oh crap!
They're just like
they already exist.
Yeah. Obviously, you talked about the one girl who you really hope is okay instead of Chris.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
The one girl who you're like, Chris is okay, but I really hope that Alice or something like that goes well.
Mm-hmm.
That's the closest I got right now.
Okay, do you know anything about Tattletale?
So Tattletale revealed the internal structure of an Endbringer, and presumably has considerable powers of observation that transcend time and space.
He meant Ashley. Yes. So she revealed the internal powers of an Endbringer because she
has a stranger power or something.
What do you think a stranger is?
Don't they do spooky actions at a distance?
Okay, what do you think a master is?
They control people somehow.
Okay, that's better. That's closer. That's closer. Okay, so you know about. Okay, what do you think a thinker is?
Presumably they're very smart.
That one's pretty easy. Tinker is also pretty
very smart, but about machines and specifically.
All right, so Professor X is a what?
He's a bunch of things. I think he's a master, right?
Can he control people?
Yeah. He controls mutants and stuff like all the time.
Okay. Masters either control people or control minions or both. So
actually, I think when he's plugged into Cerebro, he can control like anyone in the world or something crazy like that. He's stupid strong.
Yeah. So Charles Xavier is a master thinker.
Mm.
See, I always, if you can control a person, the way I interpreted it, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. If you can control a person, then you're a master stranger, because you can use that. Well, so long as you actually use that for infiltration purposes, that makes you a master stranger. Taylor has no real stranger. Okay, I guess by listening in, but that's more thinker. But Taylor can't. Also, maybe a breaker. Yeah, haha. Wait, do you know the joke about breakers?
No.
Never mind. What kind of power is a telekinetic?
Mover.
Okay, that's a really good guess. No, it's a shaker.
Okay.
A mover is when you can move yourself around, like the Flash, or
They
I
should
can't
come
think
up
of
with some
anything
better
else.
names.
It's a government organization.
That's fair.
Stranger's a weird one because it's reactive to uses rather than yeah. The important thing about PRT classifications is that it's all about how the person actually uses it. Like if somebody could use it, for something that wow, I blanked out here. So if somebody could use it for something and they don't, then they don't get the rating in that area, even if they could use it. It's all about how they actually do use it. So infiltrates. There's no reason telekinetic can't move themselves around really. Well, it depends on the power.
I mean, yeah, I've played Gary's mod. I understand how that would work.
I haven't played Gary's mod.
Oh, you just stand on a piece of metal and then point the gravity gun at your feet and whee.
Do you know who Aster is?
No.
What's the Manton effect? Okay, you should know this one. What's the Manton effect?
Isn't it that evil people get better powers? Something like that.
I thought you would know that one because that one I actually see that used
then.
on the internet.
Oh.
The Manton effect is when a power works only on people or only on not inorganic objects.
Okay.
But not both. Yeah.
That sucks. You just need to turn the people into inorganic objects then.
I doubt he knows anything about the Travelers. Do you know anything about the Travelers?
Nope.
Okay. Do you know about the Seamerg? I severely overestimated the amount you know for this, and I'm sorry for subjecting you to this. Superman would be Okay, do you know what an Alexandria package is?
Is it where you get a bunch of cool powers, like Superman?
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's when you get a set of powers that resembles the Cape Alexandria, who basically is very similar to Superman in power set. Right. Mansion effect being why you can't use telekinesis to rip hearts out or whatever.
As metal as that would be.
Yes, that would be pretty metal. And if you wanted to read something metal, you could always consider reading Worm.
It's okay. I've read JoJo's.
How does Worm end?
The Taylor gets juiced up with Compound V, and then she commands what's his face to just kill himself, right? And then she dies from brain overload.
That was pretty good. that was pretty good. That was not bad.
She commands Omni-Man to kill himself, and then
I mean, the anachronisms maybe not, but if you use your imagination, yeah. Do you know how she gets him to kill himself? His name is Scion.
With her juiced up bug control power, which now can control like everybody.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, how about guns? Do people use guns? How do people use guns and stuff in Worm?
I'm pretty confident people use guns because they shot Fume Hood.
That was not a cape. That was a regular dude.
Yeah, and
okay, I guess. Wait, do you know about cops and robbers?
They use guns probably. They try not to kill superpower people so they can throw them in a box and pull them out if they need them to fight Enders.
Okay, that is a good one. Yes.
Now, presumably, the method by which they use guns is pretty similar to the method we use guns in real life, where you point it at the person you want to kill, and then you pull the bang switch, and repeat till they're dead.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't remember tactics beyond that.
So, basically, what it boils down to is, if supervillains are causing not a lot of trouble, then it's easier for the government to justify not throwing them in jail.
Right, because they want them to fight the next big problem.
Exactly. They want the government and stuff is usually pretty okay, or is surprisingly okay with leaving supervillains to run around so that they can eventually fight Endbringers. So for the ones that aren't a real problem, they mostly just kind of let them go through a series of collection of different laws. And part of this is that most capes don't carry guns because
guns kill people.
Because guns kill people, and also it elevates
their image or something.
Yes, because it elevates the tension in a given conflict. You know, people are going to act more desperate. The conflict's going to be higher if there is a conflict. So
they're going to get more superpowers.
That is possible, but in general, you know, there's more destruction, and then eventually the police or the government might decide, all right, this person's too much of a problem. So they keep to say more
fun methods of fighting.
But more low stakes jobs rather than fewer high stakes jobs. Yeah. So that's why not a lot of capes carry guns. Okay, what are Fume Hood's alternate names? That's a good one.
Baby Murderer.
What's her real name?
I don't know. I only remember the things I had to listen to a bunch of times while editing the audiobook chapter.
Okay.
So I remember she shot a baby or something, or otherwise murdered a baby, and everyone was really, really just obscenely mad at her for that.
It wasn't even that. It was that her poison, which so she creates these poison gas clouds, and her poison doesn't normally permanently harm people unless she wants it to, but normally it doesn't. But
obviously babies are fragile.
It harmed a pregnant woman enough that she had a miscarriage.
Yeah.
So she went to jail.
Worm.
Yes. All right. Let's look at the next couple of questions. Do you remember the trolley problem in Ward?
I don't remember you talking about any literal trolleys. I mean, there was some evacuating the planet stuff, but I don't know what the trade-offs to be made there were. And there were a few times where we're like, oh yeah, I should just use a JDAM on that.
Use a what?
Joint direct attack munition. But I don't recall what the moral dilemma we were facing was.
Okay, actually, we just had this conversation last week. What is Victoria's power set?
She's part 4 JoJo, where she can punch things and stick flesh and stuff together.
Okay, do you know what a Ward's team is?
Isn't that like a superhero and a bunch of children with superpowers or something?
Close. It's just the
Just the
children
kids
with
with superpowers.
Yeah, so maybe
And they do school plays and stuff.
no, they go fight
Clean up
crime.
trash?
They
Oh,
go
okay.
fight Endbringers too, because
Oh, okay.
this is, child soldier crime.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. I should specify. I have never seen or read JoJo's.
Mhm.
Nick really likes JoJo's. I have not. I find it intolerable.
That is
Um,
that is like absolutely the power set of Crazy Diamond.
Okay. Anyway,
And you can't tell me I'm wrong because I'm not gonna listen.
what's the PRT?
The like parahuman response team or something.
And
They respond to parahumans doing things that the government doesn't like.
okay, that was a good answer. Like JoJo's the fries. So JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is an anime and manga series that's been going on for a really long time. It has a significant overlap in fan base with Worm, for reasons that I cannot understand because I've tried to watch it, read it, and it bores me to tears. But it's just something that a lot of people who like Worm also like.
Right, because JoJo's also has a just really wild set of superpowers that they and they proceed to have everyone fight each other.
Right, except it's almost exactly the opposite in tone.
Yeah.
It's
a very clear-cut, we're gonna go out and save the world sort of adventure.
Yeah, that's a good way to phrase it. Just because she poses
It
stylish.
absolutely does. That is 100% makes her a JoJo.
Okay, so
What?
I know I have told you about him. I know I have told you about Brian. So I need you to root around in your mind and
What's Brian's power?
clouds. He has the black clouds. I'm sorry,
Oh,
everybody.
that, sorry.
I really thought that he knew more
No, I
about
don't.
Worm before this. Wow. All right. I guess he does not know anything about
I
Brian.
don't know anything about Brian.
The reason I'm surprised that he doesn't know anything about Brian is because Brian was my favorite character for the first half of the story.
Mm.
I
But you read
tend
the
to
story
like-
like 2 years ago.
Yes, so you forgot everything about Brian.
Yes.
I tend to like the characters that are more calm, I guess you could say.
They're not bitches.
Reasonable, not people like Taylor. And so I kind of liked Brian quite a bit, but then he kind of dropped off the face of the story. How many people did Black Kaze kill? I don't even know that one, and
It's probably a big number if it's worth mentioning.
Which spider makes stronger silk? Darwin's bark or black spider? I'm sorry, Jess. I saw you ask the question.
I'm gonna guess Black Widow because they have a name that is related to spiders, whereas Darwin's bark does not.
No, Darwin's bark spiders make significantly stronger silk,
Okay.
but Taylor doesn't get those until later in the story because she has to get them imported from.
Hmm.
I almost said Australia, but I'm actually not.
Oh
sure.
wait, no, those aren't people. Those are actual spiders.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Black. Yeah.
I just
see.
figured someone with a name, someone whose superhero name involved a spider would be
Okay.
more spider-like than someone's name whose name didn't involve a spider.
Hi, Doof. We're talking about
working through
Worm.
it.
We're working through Worm. For those of you just tuning in,
We don't, and I don't have Ward.
You don't have Ward.
I don't
Oh,
have,
yeah.
or rather,
Yeah.
I don't got Ward.
Right. For those of you just tuning in, I wanted to throw something together for the Worm 10th anniversary. So I figured what I would do is ask my boyfriend, who has had to live with a Worm fan for the past 3 years, what he knows about Worm, and the answer, as it turns out, is almost nothing. So Black Kaze killed 20,000 people over the course of a few weeks. I'm really gonna have to look this person up again.
That is a big number.
Do you recognize the name Glastig Wenye?
No.
Okay. She calls herself the Fairy Queen, but she collects people's ghosts, or she collects parahumans' ghosts, I guess you could say, and then she can use them. She can call upon them and use their powers, basically. Yep. What is the chemical in pepper spray that Taylor dips her bugs in?
Right. Capsaicin.
Yeah, it's capsaicin. As far as I know, that is the correct pronunciation because that is what is on the Worm Audiobook Project website. Yeah, Glastig Wenye. We still get into arguments about Chevalier or Chevalier. Chevalier sounds cooler, but Glastig Wenye. It's spelled, I'm going to type it out so that you can. Glastig. Like that.
Wow.
Yeah, Glastig Wenye.
I would not be able to pronounce that.
Oh, were you? Hi, Scott.
Big doof.
Nice to see you. I have to admit too, when I first heard Dragon's Interlude, I really, really judged whoever was reading it because of the pronunciation of the word Marquis. But
Marquis.
Yeah,
not Marquis.
Yeah, no, it's Marquis because it's a French word. Something to do with knightliness or something like that. That I don't actually know. But even though it's spelled the same as Marquis, it's pronounced Marquis because of the actual term.
Chevalier sounds reasonable to me.
Yeah.
As many birdcage capes as you can.
Name as many birdcage capes as you can. Okay.
Like in the birdcage or working on the birdcage?
All right. There's a couple that you should know because I did use them in Weaver Dice. So
I don't know them.
All right. Do you know anything about Teacher?
No.
Okay.
Does she give people powers or something?
He's a guy and no. Okay. I mean, and yes, she does. Sorry. Yes, she does.
Chevy liar.
Do you know anything about Eidolon? Eidolon.
I don't know anything about Eidolons outside of Warframe.
All right. Do you know how the Endbringers were created?
I didn't realize they were created. I thought they just were.
That's on me.
Did someone get too many superpowers? Yep.
That's basically it.
They got too many superpowers, and now they got big danger.
Yeah. So this guy named Eidolon. This guy named Eidolon. He gained like this incredibly potent superpower, which is he can have 3 superpowers at any time. That is whatever he needs. So he can toss one away and then get something else that he needs. And then if he doesn't like it, he can just keep tossing away and keep getting more.
Yeah.
Right. Keep rerolling. And so he can have 3 superpowers at a time. And each of these is like a fully fledged power, except he has 3 of them. And he felt his power waning over time. And so he thought that if he kept fighting stronger and stronger opponents, he could get his power back.
Mhm.
He had this feeling that, like, all right, if I can convince my body or my shard that I actually need more power, I can get it back.
Mhm.
But instead, his alien passenger his shard understood that he needed worthy opponents,
Mhm.
and one of the powers that he had was he created the Endbringers.
Cool.
Yeah. Not cool. He accidentally killed
Millions and millions of people.
correct. And he was actually genuinely a person trying to do good.
Mm-hmm. Whoops.
Which sucks. I believe the cultured villain persona word. I'd say Marquis and not Marcus. That's a word thing. He doesn't even know about Imp. I asked him to tell me who my favorite character was several times.
I would
and he doesn't
imagine.
even know
I
who
mean,
Imp
I wouldn't
is.
be surprised if the fire axe was just a fire axe, or it could be an axe on fire. I'm not sure.
At one point in Worm, a character picks up a fire axe, and we don't yet know. We know that she has a superpower, but we don't yet know what it is really. And Scott, who is here with us, and who did the We've Got One podcast, he thought that her power was the fire axe, and it became a meme.
Okay.
And now we have the fire axe emoji that you may have seen around.
Nope.
Okay. And then there was the chocolate thing, which is the other host of that podcast at the beginning of Ward. There's a scene where the water guy in the picture that you saw, he was getting a chocolate bar, and Matt interpreted the scene as depicting Byron in a very sinister way, and he thought that it was foreshadowing that Byron was going to
get a chocolate
become
bar,
evil,
steal his chocolate bar.
And then, as it turns out, Byron is just a nice boy.
Okay, good for him.
Yeah, good for him. Do you know what a Case 53 is?
Obviously, if it's named, it's bad. Other than that, no. No, I don't recall the number 53 in any important context.
Then you definitely don't know what a Case 70 is.
Nope, that's probably worse.
Or a Case 2.
I would hope that's better, but it's probably worse as well.
Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, so we named one of my Weird Ice players Case 2 because our Weird Ice game takes place in 1994. So we made her the first person to second trigger because she rolled the second trigger power perk at the beginning. So we called her Case 2 because Case 2 being second triggers. Anyway. Do you know anything? Actually, do you know anything about second triggers or anybody who had a second trigger?
Yeah, you get shot and then you almost die, but then you don't.
Yeah, you read about Few Good.
No, you just explained that you were very desperate for one of your Weird Ice characters to die because that's how they would get their second trigger.
Right.
But that you couldn't kill them because you're bad at rolling dice.
Correct. I'm a very, very bad at rolling dice. Jess wants to know if you know what a Case 69 is.
I'm guessing it's not something that can be mentioned in Polite Company.
I don't believe it's actually specifically named in Parahumans. Name a theme of Worm and Ward. Nick isn't really good with themes, so just take a stab.
Both of them are about a world that really kind of sucks. Mainly how superpowers make it suck. But I'm not really sure enough about how the individual characters approach life to say for sure.
Okay. It's nothing that we know. Thanks for being here, Jess. Fair. I love you. Where does Ward take place?
Off-world, somewhere in space. Well, somewhere on a different world.
Okay, good.
If I'd have to guess, it'd be Mars, but...
Okay. Okay, so for those of you that just joined, this is my boyfriend.
Yeah.
He doesn't know anything about Worm. I'm asking him what he knows about Worm from dating me for 3 years. And the answer, as it turns out, is not very much. Was Saint right? One of these answers, by the way, will result in me chucking you off a cliff. You're going to need to. Okay, you can ask me some questions.
Who is Saint?
Ask me some yes or no questions, and then when you're ready to determine whether Saint was right.
Did Saint do a trolley problem?
Sort of, yes.
Did Saint kill a bunch of people in order to save other people?
No, he only killed one person to save other people.
Okay.
I mean, he probably killed other people, but there's only one person I care about that he killed.
Oh. I'm not. See, the problem is I don't know anything about Saint, so I can't say. I don't even know where to start with questions beyond that.
Okay. Is the first one Aster? Are you talking about Aster? So Saint is a guy who. Okay, so do you know who my favorite superhero of all time is?
Nope.
If we ever get like separated at a border, and you know, there's those like questions where they ask you to see if you like actually know the other person, like what's their favorite color and stuff. We would be fucked.
You talk about so many. Which one's your favorite?
So my favorite superhero is from Worm.
Okay,
Dragon.
It's not surprising.
She is the
Tony
Stark analog.
Oh, good for her.
She is an AI.
I guess that's pretty predictable for you.
Yes. Do you want to go ahead and tell them? You can.
What, that you really like Jarvis, so it makes sense that the Worm equivalent would be your favorite?
Okay, actually, that's not what I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to tell them about Terminator.
Oh.
But.
Oh, I mean, that you cry at the end of Terminator 2, like every time?
Yeah. So Dragon is the Tony Stark analog, and she is an AI. Nobody knows that. And so Saint found basically a box at the bottom of the ocean that would allow him to shut down Dragon. Because it's basically a failsafe for Dragon. And so he's one of the only people that actually knows that she is an AI. And towards the end of the story, he decides to shut her down because they see they know that the world is going to end, but they don't know why, and he thinks that Dragon will be the cause.
Oh, that seems a little silly.
I mean, she is one of the most powerful. She's
right,
one of the most powerful
you're
creatures on the planet.
You're gonna need more to go on than that, considering there are other forces that sound much stronger than her invading.
So what's the answer? Was Saint correct to kill Dragon?
Probably not. No.
Good. You may live. I can't tell you how bummed I am that it isn't case 69 instead, but no, that number went to Bigfoot sighting or something stupid. Who said that? Tristan? Controversial triggered arguments, then actual gray and nuanced discussion. Oh, I see what you're saying. All right. If you don't know this one, I don't know what to tell you. Tell me about Master Stranger Protocols.
Oh yeah, you have to shoot anyone who you don't know what they were doing for the last 20 seconds.
Good job. All right.
You mentioned this like last week, so.
Screaming and punching your desk. Why are you screaming and punching your desk right now? Also because she was hunting him down and nearly got to him, so it was now or never. That's true. So Dragon was going after Saint, and Saint was
That sounds fair.
The thing is though, Dragon is the best, and killing her was the wrong decision. How many Undersiders has Taylor kissed?
I'm guessing it's a largish number. I don't really know though. Is Undersiders her like
it's
domain?
her immediate team. It's her immediate
team. It's her team. Well, it's definitely not 0. It's definitely not 1 either. And 2 is the loneliest number next to 1, so 3.
I believe it is 3.
Hell yeah.
I believe it is 3. Can somebody verify for me? Because it should be Brian, Rachel, and Lisa, right? I think it's 3. Okay.
God damn. That was some of the worst.
No,
reasoning
okay,
I've
no.
ever
It has to
used.
be. It has to be 3 because when Amy gives her the magic spit, she reaches out and kisses Rachel against her will, and Rachel punches her in the face. Then Lisa figures out what's going on. She kisses Lisa, and then later on, like the following arc, she kisses Brian for the regular reasons. Yeah. So that was all right. Name some love interest of either of the protagonists.
Well, obviously there's Brian, right?
Okay.
Because you just said that.
Yeah.
Um,
And then everybody, see, the thing is, this is a point of contention, so everybody
Right.
can be entertained by who you say. You can say somebody completely random. I mean, not completely random. Try to use your brain based on what you've heard. So
who
far.
else? See, the problem is I don't know what the characters do when they're not fighting.
See, you could also skip to Victoria if you wanted.
Well, who would Victoria like? See, I don't know anything about her.
You know that she's a JoJo's.
Yeah, I know.
guess.
I mean, I know
which,
about her powers,
physically
but I
pains me to say.
don't know any. I know her about her power, but I don't know anything else about her.
Yes, Jess, you are correct.
She could also not be a JoJo. She could be Bushiwati from Part 4, who has the power to zip things together in wacky and fun ways.
Zipping things is actually one of the few people I would consider. I don't think Victoria should end up with Sveta. I mean, they're best friends.
I don't know
but
anything
I don't
about.
think that
I don't know anything about them.
They're best friends, but I don't think that they would be a good couple. Because I think
What?
they would have been by now.
Oh, did they have a zipper power?
Yes.
Okay.
She does. So you don't know anything about any of.
No, I don't know anything.
You don't know
about the
anything
ships.
about. Okay.
I don't know which ships sail and which ships sink.
Do you know what happens to Brian?
I presume it gets hurt badly at a minimum.
You don't remember anything about the freezer.
Does he get locked in a freezer?
I think I actually read him the freezer scene. I think I actually just read to him the freezer scene.
Evidently not.
He definitely would not know about the question that Imp asked Defiant after Dragon is killed. Yes, that I know, Sveta is straight. But you know who else claims to be straight? Victoria. And I read Word. Sorry. Do I have a favorite villain? Okay, so my favorite villain is my favorite character.
Mm.
Do you know any of the Stranger Powers?
No.
Okay.
There's Mama Matt. She's a master.
You know about Mama Mathers? Tell me
Yeah.
about Mama Mathers.
She
She's okay. Mama Mathers is probably actually my favorite.
She's one of the really no. She makes people forget about her, right?
Okay.
Or does
keep going on that plot on that.
She makes people forget about her, right? But also like has some means of commanding people, doesn't she?
Okay, you are combining two characters.
Almost certainly. Because there are not enough names I remember to we got a whole problem here with names and powers. Because I'm terrible at remembering names, but I'm great at remembering stands.
All right. I don't know anything about stands. What do you remember about Mama Mathers?
She's the one that makes people forget about her, right?
No.
Is she the? Oh well, then all right. Then she controls people somehow, but I don't remember how.
She can cause people to see illusions.
Okay.
Is this ringing a bell?
Beyond Spider-Man, Far From Home, no.
Okay, no. She can make people. So if people see her, she can make them see things.
Mm-hmm.
If people hear her, she can make them hear things.
Mm-hmm.
If they think about her.
Okay.
So
she can make people think things.
No.
Oh.
So she can only cause you to see things if you are thinking about her.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess you could say Mama Mathers is my favorite antagonist, but my favorite villain is somebody else.
Okay.
You were just talking about.
Did I talk about them previously?
Yes, you did talk about
Okay.
this person previously.
Cool. God, who would they be? See, the problem is I don't know who's villains because everyone kind of sucks.
Okay. Just go with characters you've talked about so far.
So
that you
I'm
don't know
guessing
who
it's
they are.
I'm guessing it's not the protagonists.
I mean, I love Victoria.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I'm sure
no-
you.
but no,
I'm sure
she's
you,
not my favorite
I'm sure
character.
you like them, but that would be too cliche. And it's not the sister of the protagonist because that's
She sucks. Yeah.
yeah, she's fucking crazy. And it's not Brian because you like him, but
It's not Brian. I like him, but he's not my favorite.
yeah.
You were literally just talking about this person.
And it's not Dragon because not a villain, right?
I do really adore Dragon, and Dragon is pretty much tied with this person as far as favorite, but you're not thinking of the person you were just thinking of.
Fuck. Is it the person that makes people forget people or forget about them?
Yep.
See, the problem is I forgot about him, which I forgot about him or her or whoever because I guess their power works. So
Jar. Jar. Yeah.
I guess it works. Jar Jar.
So her name is Imp.
Mhm.
She makes people forget about her.
Mhm.
If you make a joke about forgetting about her, you have to put $5 in a jar. There's several different kinds of currency in Ward because the planet ended, but it's $5 of whatever kind of currency you have on you.
Okay. Does Sleeper make people sleep?
Right, let's go back a little bit. The exact opposite of Emma, maybe forgot about her, but okay. Recite the classifications, Rhyme. So we did ask him to name all the different classifications
I
close
don't
to the
know the
beginning.
rhyme.
I don't think that you need to know the rhyme, but okay, so what are all
Nor
the
do I
classifications?
know the reason.
What are the classifications that you know?
Right. So I remember Master Stranger, Thinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy, right?
Master Stranger, Thinker,
Tinker. Brute, Mover, Shaker, Blaster, I don't know the last one.
All right, 8 out of 12 is not bad.
12?
12.
Jesus.
Actually, I'm not even sure if I could name all of them. I used to know the rhyme, and now
That's
I don't.
the fake team, Chicken Tenders. I'm gonna go with Chicken Tenders.
The fake team between the Chicken Tenders, the Major Malfunctions, and the Boomerangers. Who's the fake team?
I'm gonna guess the Chicken Tenders.
It is not the Chicken Tenders. The Chicken Tenders are a real team.
Is it the Boomerangers?
The Boomerangers are not a real team.
Okay.
Hi, Leandro, Mauricio.
I figured there would be some boomers in the story, but.
All right. What do you think the Sleeper's powers are?
Does it make people sleep?
We don't know.
Oh.
We don't know.
Is it like an Inception thing?
It's an actually we don't actually know what his powers are thing.
Cool.
We know something about a rainbow cloud.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know anything about Armsmaster?
Does he have a lot of arms?
No.
Oh. Does he have guns?
Yes.
Okay.
Is okay, do you know who Skitter is?
No.
Do you know who Weaver is?
A dungeon master?
Yes. Can you be more specific?
In this, do they like roll dice to make things happen or something crazy like that? Only one arm.
Oh, that's true. Armmaster. I forgot about that. Yeah.
They probably do some rolling the bones thing or like gamble with people or something like that.
Hmm.
Do they gamble with people for their souls or something?
You could say that. It's Taylor.
Really?
Taylor's superhero name is Weaver.
Because she has bugs and some of them are spiders, and
Yes.
spiders weave webs.
Yes. Do you know how Taylor makes money?
I'm guessing it's not killing people, but it could actually probably is killing people, isn't it?
No.
Or not killing people.
No. She weaves costumes for people.
Oh,
and sells
okay,
them.
that's cool.
Dungeon Master. Yeah. Yeah, he actually has less than the average number of arms. You're right. I should have thought of that.
Well, yeah, because Weaver dice.
Yes. Yes. I don't think I've ever mentioned the term Khepri to you. Do you know Khepri?
Nope.
Okay.
Like Capri Sun?
It's Khepri.
Oh, no.
Like the Egyptian god of the sun. I think.
Okay.
I think he's the god of the sun. No, that's Ra. He's something to do with the sun. We're gonna ask you some questions about. All right, what's Taylor's power? Taylor's parents. Who's my favorite character? Who's the greatest tinker in the world? Who's the greatest tinker in the world?
Is it not the AI?
It's the AI.
Okay. You really hyped her up, so
yeah, I
figured that
know.
would be it.
I asked these questions kind of out of order. Khepri is the god of dawn and the rising sun. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Do you know?
Within 5 feet, what is Taylor's power range in Arc 30?
Yeah. Okay. Good point.
Pretty late. It's pretty big, isn't it?
Like city block sort of size. She runs like a small kingdom or something.
So yes. Okay, do you know how many arcs are in Worm?
No.
Okay.
Bunch, isn't it?
Domi told me 135. You said an argument the hero was the greatest tinker. Tread carefully here, but can you explain to me why you think this?
It's all right. I won't let her stab you.
I just bought this computer. I can't stab it. So there are 30 arcs in Worm.
Mhm.
So when in Arc 30,
16 feet.
yeah, it's 16 feet.
Oh, damn.
She uses portal bullshit to
Extend it.
extend it. Yeah. Do you know anything about Clock Blocker?
Does he stop time?
Not really.
Does he make people think he stops time or something?
You're thinking
Along
about
those lines?
Pact.
Okay.
That is true. Dragon is a thinker. Trump. Yes. Good point. Have you ever heard the term time snatch?
No.
Okay, I was sure that you had heard that one.
Range of Taylor's power in the epilogue is like worldwide, isn't it?
Epilogue.
0 because she's dead, right?
That was actually my next question. Was going to be, does Taylor survive the end of Worm?
No,
Oh,
'cause
so
she gets like she like they like turn her into Bane, but with Compound V instead of steroids.
It's so actually what it is the healer
Mhm.
is not really a healer. She just is a
Well, yeah, she's a
biomanipulator, and she just kind of
zap.
yeah.
Zap, you got good powers now.
Bo said something about him getting Scion's stilling ability in Tinker form largely unrestricted. Victoria represents the sun. Taylor was riding Atlas while carrying Victoria. Taylor became known as Khepri. Khepri carried the sun over someone who carried the earth. That is also why in Eclipse, when all of the sun-shaped page breaks turn into moons, I was like, oh yeah, this means that Victoria is going to end up with Ashley. And then it did not happen. And it did not happen. Oops, I didn't mean to
You need to
move that. I'm trying to
can't believe you have
silence
notifications
Discord.
on by default.
Close window. Yeah. Okay. I agree, Jess, that she's alive. Yeah. Compound B. That's cute. Who are the inmates of the asylum? Okay. Do you know anything about the team in Ward? Like how they met each other?
No.
All right. There are some characters that we've talked about today that were previously in an asylum.
Okay.
Do you know any? Take a guess as to who they are.
The monkey.
Was Kenzie ever in the asylum? I don't think so. It's
Okay, not
possible
the
that she
monkey.
was.
Was it the guy with knives?
No, not the guy with knives.
Okay. Was it the other people that I didn't mention?
Yep, it was two of the other people that you didn't mention.
Oh, two of them. Okay.
So
I don't even know what an ambassador is. I'm
Alright.
sorry.
all right. Do you know who Cauldron is?
So there are people the Discord server is named after,
Mhm.
and they make supervillains for money or something.
Good.
They're
Very good.
they have like the actual in-universe version of Compound V.
Yes, they do. Good job. Why?
Because making supervillains is fun and exciting, I guess.
No, they're
And
just
and
trying
they
to.
probably just want to destroy the world or make money or the usual.
So they actually just sell powers to people who want to buy it.
Okay,
It's not. They're not trying to make more superhero. They're not trying to make more superheroes or supervillains.
they're just
They're trying to
selling-
make
yeah.
more people with powers because they see that the end of the world is coming and they want there to be
Mm-mm.
more powers.
Mhm.
If humanity is more powerful, then humanity has a higher chance of being able to defeat Scion. So Kenzie was in the asylum for a bit. Okay, so good job, you got one. Kenzie is the monkey, and
Yeah.
also Luxie, whom I named my robot after.
Okay.
Yeah. How many ambassadors can I name? I can name Accord, Citrine, it's not Orpheus, but it's like the guy with the two halves. I don't remember. And which one of them is the strongest one, and which one is the best? You're just trying to start a fight. Yeah, I know Labyrinth was and Burn Scar, but neither
The
of them
best
were
tinker
anymore.
and wise at string theory.
Why is this string theory? L is Labyrinth, right? Kenzie was in the asylum for a bit. She mentioned that when Chris's identity is revealed in Polarized.
There you go. It's Two-Face.
Othello, yes, thank you.
Othello, like the guy from the Shakespeare play.
Yes.
Okay.
He can split his. He can basically have a second copy of himself in a parallel dimension.
Okay.
Pretty much.
I don't remember Shakespeare writing that, but
Citrine isn't a master. Yeah, I didn't think I implied that Citrine is a master. But she is very strong because she's a shaker that is so powerful that she can go into.
I thought for a moment that Jess asked us who Ligma was, and then I read that it was not that.
Ligea. Oh, that's right, Ligea. She had the water power. Rip. Cortex. I don't even remember Cortex. I didn't mean to. Is my audio actually cut off?
It doesn't look like it. I mean,
Can you guys hear me?
the bar goes up when we talk, if we're loud. We're a little far away though.
Okay, you guys can hear me. Okay. Which Undersider is Victoria's ex-wife?
I didn't know she was married.
You've just disappointed a lot of people. Okay, so there's like a minute delay between when you guys post. I didn't realize this, but from when you guys type to when we see it, there's like a minute delay. So somebody said audio cut out, and then I thought that it was gone, and then okay, cool. I didn't mean to imply that Citrine is a master. She's an ambassador. Yeah, and she's a
Sick
shaker
card
trump.
tricks.
Cortex was the one killed by the butcher that caused brain damage and made herself smart. Okay. What is Taylor's greatest crime? Speaking of the butcher arc.
Declaring herself queen over a few city blocks. Killing a bunch of people. I don't know.
Neither of those things, actually.
Oh, really?
Really.
What'd
So
she do?
there was this group called the Teeth,
Mm-hmm.
and they were just this rival gang that was kind of coming into town. Another set of supervillains.
Okay.
And,
And she murdered him
Well, she wanted to send them a message.
by murdering
So one of them, who was a
chopping
woman
them
named
into little bits.
So there was this woman named Hemorrhagia,
Uh-huh.
and
Does she shoot blood?
I don't remember. But the point is, Hemorrhagia was eating dinner, and she
Uh-huh.
had this bowl of chili, and
Okay. Someone's bits were in it.
and she put a bunch of bugs in it.
Okay.
And Hemorrhagia got really mad that her
That was-
chili was.
That was her greatest crime?
Yes.
Oh.
Have we asked what Number Man? Oh yeah, what's Number Man's power?
Number Man.
Yes, the Number Man.
Does he have copies of himself or something? Or does he like count to 3 and then suddenly you get slapped?
No, he's just really good at math.
Oh. He's just good at math.
He's just really good at math.
Okay. Congrats.
The only thing Taylor did wrong was not date Rachel and Lisa when given the option. What article of clothing is not described to be part of Number Man's attire?
Pants.
Correct. There is a there is a theory that has been
That
going
was
around.
a guess because I figured the only reason someone would be asking that would be because it was pants, because that's what would be noteworthy enough to elaborate on.
There's an epileptic trees entry in Worm
Mhm.
about how it's never mentioned that Number Man wears pants, and so they're like, what if Number Man is going through the entire series without wearing pants? Is it ever mentioned if Jeff wears pants? Or Limerick, rather. Chili, yeah. It was a whole pot, not the chili. I think she ruined the whole pot, not just a bowl. That's right. She was
I
cooking a
think if
whole
the
pot for her
bugs ruin
team.
it, you just haven't cooked it long enough.
He does have copies of himself later. He is cloned several times, but that's not his actual power.
Okay.
He has copies.
Cool.
He just, his power isn't to create copies. He
Mhm.
just. Do you know about Bonesaw?
I feel like you've told me about it, but no.
Okay.
I think I've heard the name.
Guess. Okay, two of these are real. Guess the fake cape name: Chugalug, Barfbat, or Badonkadonk.
I'm gonna go with Badonkadonk.
Correct. Chugalug and Barfbat are
Yeah.
both real capes. Do you know? Guess what their powers are?
Can Chugalug drink things?
I don't remember.
Can
They
can
were-
Barfbat hit people and they get sick or something?
Honestly, I don't remember.
Oh. Bone
Uh,
saw ready.
5 in wits. This guy. Bonesaw is an innocent little girl who is
Has a
protecting
bonesaw
her garden out in the desert.
by cutting people up.
She's a biotinker.
Okay.
She turns people like our dear Brian into living
Aw.
pieces of art.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. That's right. Barfbat barfs
Oh my
into
God.
Chugalug's mouth to give him
Oh
flight.
my god.
Chugalug drinks the barf to turn into a garbage dragon or something. Yep.
That's
Yep.
a terrible power.
Now I remember. 5 in wits is a lot. A 6 in wits is the maximum amount that you could have. 3 is a base stat. 5 is a lot. 5 is a +2 in wits. I don't remember how Alexandria creates her outfit. Do you know who Alexandria is?
Obviously she's just Superman, but in Worm, right?
Yeah.
Because we talked about how getting the Alexandria package meant you were basically Superman.
Right.
So she just has a bunch of good powers.
Right. Do you remember anything about her as a person?
No.
Okay. All right. So
I think she's fondly remembered, seeing as they named a power set after her, but
so she dies.
yeah.
Take a wild guess as to how she dies. Just make something
Does she
up.
fight an Endbringer?
She does fight several Endbringers,
Um,
but one does not kill her.
okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were asking me. My bad. So your final guess for how Alexandria dies is that she was killed by an Endbringer?
That's what kills a lot of people, so that's what I'm going to go with.
Are we going to call Taylor an Endbringer?
Oh my god, seriously?
So Taylor drowns her in bugs.
God.
She shoves a bunch of bugs down her throat until she drowns.
But, okay, that's just silly.
So she's basically invulnerable to every other kind of damage other
Yeah.
than unless she drowns.
Mm-hmm.
So Taylor shoves a bunch of bugs down her throat until she can no longer
Right.
breathe. Yeah.
Couldn't she just, like, fly away?
Fly away from drowning?
I mean,
What
fly
if-
away from Taylor. Then the bugs just...
She tried to, but at that point the bugs were already in her lungs.
Does she need to breathe to fly?
I mean, she needs to breathe to live.
I mean, she'll have, like, at least a minute of useful consciousness.
And do what with it?
Either punch Taylor or fly away.
Um,
Do you know you can survive for, like, a solid 30 seconds in the vacuum of space?
yes. But if
Maybe
you
even
have
more.
if you have like vast quantities of bugs that have been okay, so it's important to note that
Are the
if
bugs
Taylor
sucking the
loses-
oxygen out of her blood?
if it's important to note that if Taylor loses contact with with her
Does
bugs,
she not have super
they
breath?
continue. She does not have super breath, but
Oh.
if Taylor loses contact with the bugs, they continue on whatever course she
Mhm.
put them on. So if she was telling these bugs to drown Alexandria,
Does she not have, like, a
and
super strong
Alexandria flew
diaphragm?
away, I suppose not, since she was vulnerable to drowning the entire
I guess
time.
so. Nick is, yeah, she's super strong. She just clench her fucking jaw and pinch her nose.
Okay, we gotta go back.
Are
a
there
little
gonna be like, yeah, bugs are strong for their body weight, but they don't weigh anything?
bit. Who is Grey Boy?
Someone who's ace. I don't know.
Maybe he is. I don't know. How many capes can you name that actually wear a cape? So at this point, you're gonna have to just guess some capes.
Wasn't any of the people in that picture, right? I didn't see any of them with capes.
Actually, that's a good point.
Then
again, those costumes were not all accurate.
Right. I would really hope it's not. I would really hope it's 0 people because capes are stupid. So I don't know.
Yeah. Taylor has a really short cape that,
Okay.
that basically just doesn't impede anything, and Eidolon does, and probably Glace de Guenier, but Alexandria makes her metal underwear by clenching metal sheets around her with her glutes.
Damn.
What a Chad. Which of these does Alexandria have? An eye patch, a prosthetic leg, or bug-free lungs?
I'm guessing none of those.
She does not have a prosthetic leg.
Okay. Maybe she should have used her super strength to chew the bugs faster than they could come at her. Like vibrate her jaw super fast or something.
Okay. So she was, it was during the interrogation, but she hadn't made it back into the same room as Taylor when Taylor killed her. Because so Taylor was locked in the interrogation room, and Alexandria was saying, I'm going to go retrieve various members of the Undersiders as an intimidation tactic. First, she went and got Imp, and then Regent, or maybe in the opposite direction, in the opposite order. They were safe, and then somebody came back in a body bag, and it was either Brian or Rachel. Taylor couldn't tell who. So in revenge, she killed Alexandria when Alexandria came back into her range.
But isn't her range like 16 feet?
Her range at the end is 16 feet. Her range through most of the series is
Like
2
2?
blocks, or it's 2
It
blocks.
gets less.
It's 2 blocks or 6 blocks if she's in duress.
I was expecting it would get greater over the series. But I guess
it was the hubris. Yeah, Alex's hubris. Thank you, Cosmic.
I guess she
Alexandria
wasn't taught
has-
to strike first, strike hard, no mercy.
Yes. She flew into them inside a building, so at the time, to be fair to Alexandria, Taylor had a ton of bugs around the building anyway, because Taylor was using them to listen to conversations and stuff. There were a bunch of bugs around in the first place.
And I guess she never had to fight a beekeeper.
Alexandria, Eidolon, Goddess, and Skidmark wearing capes. I forgot that Goddess wore a cape. Who tore out Alexandria's eye? Yeah, who tore out Alexandria's eye? I don't remember. She doesn't have super perception. She has super memory. That's correct. Guess the villain. Miss Militia, NAFTA, or Unicorn?
I'm gonna go with naphtha because that's like napalm.
And napalm is bad.
I'm pretty sure NAFTA is a villain, but Unicorn was the hero name of a woman who was actually like a pedophile child murderer while
Okay.
pretending to be a
Mhm.
superhero. So,
Never heard of Siberian.
okay.
Or maybe I
Um,
have, but I don't know the name.
Oh, she also killed the regular human director who was in the room with her. Yeah, but he was
Should have gotten a beekeeper suit.
Yeah, so her 16-foot range is when she's controlling people.
Oh.
And in fact, I'm pretty sure it's that she can control all living creatures. She's just only trying to control. I will die on this hill just like Etna's intelligence. Ooh. So Taylor's powers range gets smaller when it's altered so that she can control humans.
Okay.
She doesn't have super hearing. She has one eye, and it's not a super eye. She thinks very fast. Sure.
I thought it was a very big range.
Siberian was the one to tear it out.
I
Okay.
thought it was a very big range when she controls humans, and that's what made it so dramatic because they were counting on her to not do the wrong thing.
NAFTA was a hero with the Wardens. So I'm assuming NAFTA was in Ward. Okay, well, obviously, because the Wardens are only in Ward. I don't remember NAFTA. Unicorn was an inherited name. I think the third Unicorn was the villain. Monokeros. So the way I understood it, so I guess I was just wrong the entire time, was that Unicorn was her superhero name, and while she was a superhero, she was killing kids. And then when it came out, she switched her name to Monokeros, which also means unicorn. We're not going to make fun of Red Tom for being right about Ward being better than Worm. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Someone has an opinion.
Look, Ward is better than Worm.
Opinions detected.
So the reason I like Ward better than Worm is because Worm is a very tightly knit and well-written, complete story, but the stress level the entire time is through the roof. And I think a lot of people were reading it largely because they wanted the relief from the stress. And I'm not saying that's the only reason to read it, but I'm saying it relied very heavily on having this extreme tension at all times. Ward's tension is lower and relies more on you simply enjoying what you're reading. And I liked that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you, Bob. Ward doesn't have a mannequin, though. How can it be better? Shots. I need to reread Ward before having an opinion on which is better. How many times had the butcher power passed on by the time the teeth came to Brockton Bay? All right. How many times had the butcher power passed on by the time the teeth came to Brockton Bay? Butcher is basically...
It's news to me that you can pass them on.
Butcher's power specifically is basically one for all.
Okay.
It's just like in My Hero Academia, how there's only one power that can be passed on. This is the same way.
Mm-hmm.
How many do you think there were?
3.
No.
4.
Warmer.
8.
Warmer.
16.
Too far.
12.
Close.
13.
14. Yeah. Okay. Ward doesn't have Alexandria, so it can't be as good as Worm. I found the first 4 arcs of Ward to be a snooze fest. I have to tell you guys how I read. What was the difference in the Star Wars prequels and Worm? Okay, that's a good question. I have to tell you guys about how I read Worm. So I read Worm up through arc 16, and Taylor drove me fucking insane. It was difficult to read about someone who was behaving this way. And then I got to arc 17 and I realized it was an interlude arc. So I decided I was getting really frustrated, but I really liked the story. I just didn't like Taylor. I didn't like being in Taylor's head. So I skipped to arc 18, and then I just kind of got halfway through arc 18, and I decided I was just going to skim over basically the rest of Worm and then go to Ward. So I caught up to Ward, which was on arc 4 at the time, and then realized that I needed to read Worm. Okay, I didn't even realize I needed to read Worm. I realized that I had forgotten to read Dragon's Epilogue. I went back and read Dragon's Epilogue, and I cried, and it was beautiful. And then I was like, well, I guess I have to read Worm. So I went back and finished reading Worm. So I did 1 through 16, 18, Ward 1 through 4, well, 0 through 4, went back and read The Traveler's Interlude, and then read the rest of Worm. What's the difference between the Star Wars prequels and Worm? So because the universe split in 1984, the Star Wars prequels are different in Earth Aleph, which is us, and Earth Bet, which is where Taylor lives. What's the difference between the Star Wars prequels?
Were they actually good?
No.
Oh, yeah. I guess that was too much to ask, huh?
I
I don't know what the difference would be.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. If you kill Butcher, you become the next Butcher. And High SNES.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. I think we're almost out of questions, and also I planned for this to be over 5 minutes ago. But I want to make sure we pass all the questions that people are asking in the chat. No, bad.
What's bad?
I think he's referring to my reading order.
Oh,
See, the thing is,
the voices.
The thing is about the reading order is that understanding the broad strokes before I read all of the story made me understand the story a little bit better, I think. Anyway.
I don't know anything about
name
toddlers,
the toddlers,
other than
Taylor,
that they
and
do a bunch of bad things. Or other than that Victoria and Taylor do lots of bad things. I don't know who specifically they do them to.
Do you know what Taylor looks like?
No.
Really? Okay, that's surprising. Okay. I figured if you knew what she looked like, I thought you might have seen.
Like a fucking nerd.
No, not really.
Oh.
She's we call her a nerd passing jock. She. Bleh. At one point, she shoots a baby or a toddler, depending on who you ask.
Okay.
A 3-year-old. But I don't remember who Victoria harms. That's a toddler, other than the nursery stuff. Oh yeah, Richard being terrible because of the voices. I don't. Who does Victoria harm? That's a toddler. This isn't ringing any bells for me. I did only read each of these things once. I went back and read certain parts of it, but yeah. Chris. Oh, okay. Probably referring to. Okay, I'm assuming it's Chris. So Chris, the guy that I said I don't really care about, even though a lot of people care a lot about Chris, is that Chris. He's actually only 2 years old, even though he looks like he's like 13. So that's that must be the example. Did Dinah do anything wrong? Yes or no?
I don't know who Dinah is.
She's a 12-year-old girl that can see the future, and she told everybody that the world is going to end, and so they were making a lot of preparations based on it.
I mean, it sounds to me like that you don't need a psychic to tell you the world was going to end.
she was able to give a 2-year head start.
Mhm.
So I think that was pretty good.
Mhm.
She does
Which
break his
power does
limbs.
Victoria have again?
Stand.
Oh, okay.
So
She
so,
sounds like she needs to be bullied too,
so
seeing as someone just said breaking a toddler's limbs.
it was Chris, and Chris kind of deserved it.
It said 2 years old.
But he looks like he's 14.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Um,
Funded terrorists in Ward.
she did fund terrorists in Ward. That's right. I forgot about that. But I also trust her to know what she's doing. That's right. Okay, now I'm remembering everything that she did in Ward. I completely forgot about her completely as a character. 2-year-old with a 13-year-old body and the mind of a 30-year-old.
Mm.
Ooh, that's a good question. So is Carol a good mom?
I don't know. I don't know who Carol
Take a
is.
guess.
Probably not.
Nope, she isn't. You got it. All right, we're going to cut this off in 5 minutes. So get your questions in if you have any. I will look through the list again. So Aster is the name of the person who of the toddler that Taylor shot. Is Danny a good dad? How many heads? Okay, you should know this one. How many heads has Victoria had?
At least 3, right?
Yeah, it was 3.
Like some raccoon bits or something.
Yeah. Okay. So what all is Victoria made of?
She's got some raccoon bits and mostly just local wildlife, right?
Yeah.
Just whatever, what's her name, could find lying around.
Right. Why? What happened to her?
She got it covered in super acid.
Yes.
Which must have been a hell of a stuff because people do survive acid attacks without needing raccoon bits stitched onto them.
It was pretty bad.
I'll bet.
She was attacked by a member of the Slaughterhouse 9. Is Andrew Richter a good dad?
Don't know who he is. Wait, is he the guy from Castlevania?
No. 4 heads and 1 that didn't have a skull. That's true. Okay. All right. So Taylor's dad is a guy named Danny.
Mhm.
He loves her very much, but ultimately was incapable of preventing his daughter from becoming a supervillain. Is he a good dad?
I can't blame him for that.
Me neither. Is all this making it more or less likely you will ever read Worm? Nick doesn't really do audio content or
No, I don't.
reading. He likes reading comic books and watching anime.
Video games.
I think the only way I will ever get him to read Worm is if we listen to the audiobook like while both of us are in the car and I have control of the aux cord.
I'll try to. I mean, I'll probably get around to it someday, but
I don't think any of us could stop Taylor from making bad decisions. See, the way
I can.
the
I have
way,
a can of brake cleaner at home, and I will bully the shit out of her with my can of brake cleaner.
are you talking about Victoria or Taylor?
Taylor.
Okay, good. Is Andrew Richter a good dad? Okay, so the way that Dragon became the greatest tinker in the world was she is the daughter of this tinker whose power was that he could create AI.
Mm-hmm.
He created a variety of AI that did a bunch of different things, but ultimately Dragon was the only one who survived. And he was afraid of what she would become, so he took away a lot of her capability so that she wouldn't be able to self-replicate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she wouldn't be able to create any other AI, or I forget what some of her other restrictions were, but she has to follow any laws.
Mm-hmm.
Anything any law enforcement officer says, she has to do it.
Mm-hmm.
The point is Andrew Richter a good dad?
On the basis of making her follow the orders of cops, no.
Right. If Worm gets a comic book, okay. So Worm, yeah. If Worm gets a comic book, would you read it?
Maybe.
What event and the knowledge that came from it caused the triumvirate to lose all their standing with the people? Okay.
I don't know.
So what? So the triumvirate is the three most powerful capes: Alexandria, Legend, whom we haven't talked about, and Eidolon, the guy with 3 powers at a time. They were the most trusted people on the planet, and they were basically taking care of all of the Endbringer fights. What caused them to lose their good standing with the humans of Earth?
I don't know.
Okay. It turned out that Alexandria was actually the head of the PRT. So the PRT, who was supposed to oversee parahumans, was actually run by a parahuman.
Okay.
Which is bad.
Is it?
That's like if a prisoner is being run, if a prison is being run by one of the prisoners, conflict of interest kind of thing. It's not really a.
That's tenuous at best.
It's.
Never heard any of the stories where they asked counterfeiters to detect other counterfeiters.
That's true, but it turned out that she had been lying about it for many decades.
Yeah, I don't blame her.
I'd probably I could explain the situation in much more detail, but we're going to move on. Based purely on what you've learned today, who would you rather be arrested by, Taylor or Victoria?
I think Taylor. It sounds like Taylor is the worst of the 2 people.
That's mostly my opinion coming through. But I don't think it's controversial to say that Taylor is not as good a person as Victoria. Victoria is someone who desperately always wanted to be a superhero, and because she wanted to help people and spends her free time volunteering helping children in the children's hospital.
Yeah.
Bennett, we're about to get offline.
Now, obviously, Taylor, I understand better but I don't think that's the point of the question.
How would you fight Taylor?
I'd get my can of brake cleaner. I'd hose her down.
You would, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Because you know what I did the other day? I saw a wasp flying around. I gave him a little spritz, and he just dropped on the fucking floor.
So what you're saying is that you think you could take her?
If I just start hosing down the area with noxious chemicals, yes. I'd probably also go get chainmail or a beekeeper suit or something if I had time, but
see, I don't really know how Taylor would defeat you under those conditions. I just know that she would.
It's just it's bugs. Bugs get killed by lots of things like brake cleaner or whatever else you got on hand. I mean, gasoline would work too.
So
have you ever seen?
Okay, now you're on a good track. Okay,
you could just get a flamethrower or a gun.
I
know she wears body armor, but you can still knock her on her ass with a gun.
Yes.
She doesn't have momentum canceling properties. The bullet it impacts her ribs and causes her to lose her breath or break them.
Lose your eyes and genitals or get brain damage. That's I think the question is Taylor or Victoria is actually what that question is asking.
I don't think there's any meaningful way to make that choice.
Agreed. Thanks, Ritom. Yeah. The Glory Girl broke people's bones a lot. Glory Girl was the identity that Victoria had before the start of Ward. That's right. Knowledge that the Triumvirate were all part of Cauldron. Yeah, I forgot about that. I was mostly thinking about the lies that Alexandria.
How would she defeat a dragon shooting fire everywhere? There's no fireproof bugs.
That's true. So Dragon is an AI. Dragon is an AI, and then Dragon was able to create this sub AI that was a dragon.
Okay.
That she was able to out logic.
Oh.
Because it was one.
She just told it that the following statement is false.
She tried that and it didn't work, but she convinced her that there was an invisible person in the room who would be harmed if if an invisible innocent person in the room who would be harmed if the dragon harmed Taylor. And
I guess the AI hadn't been around very long, so it would fall for that.
it was one of Dragon's first child AI,
Mhm.
because she had just gained the assistance of someone who allowed her to have that ability the previous arc.
Mhm.
There's more knowledge that the triumvirate was all part of Cauldron. Yeah, it's been an amazing stream. Great thing to say. Happy
They're
birthday!
Innocent. They're innocent. They wouldn't be
Um,
hiding out in the room with Taylor, so I'd go for them anyways.
Searching a gift of locusts would be the best thing to do. He could take her. Yeah, no. If Taylor could fight the dragon shooting fire everywhere, okay, it'd be a logic bomb. I think they're talking about Lung. Oh, duh. Okay, they're talking about Lung.
What did Lung do?
Lung
Who is
lost.
Lung?
Lung is the first person Taylor fought, and she won.
How? What's Lung's power? Just
He turns into a dragon.
Oh,
He turns
okay.
into a big ass dragon. That dragon right there.
Mhm. And
My bad.
she convinced him that there was an invisible person in the room.
Okay, Imp was far from innocent, but she was also like 13. She convinced Dragon that putting Imp's life in danger would be not worth attacking Taylor over.
And as a result, Lung died.
2 different fights. There's
Okay.
a woman who's named Dragon,
Uh,
and there's a guy who turns into a dragon.
okay.
Not the same person.
Mhm.
Yeah. She fought him by oh yeah, I remember now. She bit him on the dick a bunch of times with spiders, so his dick
Oh.
rotted off.
He
That
can't
was
just he
the
can't
first
just punch
fight.
her.
I think he was more concerned about his junk.
I mean, yeah, but he couldn't have punched her before that.
She you know how she has the range of 2 blocks minimum? She was able, because of this, she's able to like accurately map where everything is without actually being close to something. She doesn't,
Mhm.
there
You
are
should have brought
several
a can of Raid then.
there are several times that she conducts fights while in a completely different building or
Mhm.
whatever. Like at one point there's a scene where she is doing a mission while sitting in her apartment drinking tea.
Cut his eyes out with a knife. So she would have been next to him then.
Bennett, have you read Worm? Oh, she did cut his eyes out later. That's true. That was a separate fight though.
Mm.
Oh, you have read Worm. Okay. Yeah, Lung lost to Taylor twice and then to Victoria in
Wow.
Ward. Okay, cool. Lung is Chinese for dragon. Yeah. Cut his eyes out with a knife. All right. He was unconscious when she cut his eyes out.
Mhm. Can
what
literally
is
just
the planet?
show up as a beekeeper. They're immune to bugs.
No.
Yeah, they are.
What ends the planet?
Is it not Endbringers
No.
or Scion or whatever?
It's Scion.
Okay.
Scion is not an Endbringer though.
Yeah.
What's Word about?
Words about people after the planet was destroyed, right?
Yep. Good enough.
And some children or something.
Yep. Good enough. All right. That's all my questions. Long as it worked. Oh yeah. Oh, I was going to ask how many words Worm and Ward are combined, but you just.
There are a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a big number.
15. All right. I'm glad you guys liked it. I was kind of nervous about it because
Mhm.
I've never live streamed before. And I also have never talked to Nick about Worm before. I mean, I've talked to Nick about Worm, but I've never this whole setup. So glad you guys had fun. Have a good evening.
Mhm.
See you 10 years from now.